Sikhism, background, beliefs, medical beliefs. We will start off by looking at the background and beliefs of the religion. Healthcare workers should know the history of a religion to provide culturally competent and respectful care, understand patients' beliefs and values, navigate ethical considerations, and communicate effectively. Background. Sikhism was founded in 1469 in Punjab, India by Guru Nanak, a spiritual guide and teacher. There are 9 successors, and they are also revered as gurus. The followers are known as Sikhs, derived from the Sanskrit word shishya, meaning disciple. The ultimate spiritual authority for Sikhs is the Guru Granth Sahib, a book containing teachings and compositions by the gurus and Hindu Muslim saints. General beliefs. There is a universal acceptance of all humanity, belief in one universal God. All gods in the eyes of Sikhs are valid, live in truth and righteousness, focus on equality for everyone, regardless of their background or identity, and have a strong emphasis on gender equality. Way of life. Sikhs try to remember God's name constantly, earn a livelihood through honesty, inspire and support the community, practice self-control over desires, anger, greed, attachment, and pride, which are also known as the 5 thieves. The aim is to break the cycle of reincarnation and unite with God. Reincarnation, to Sikhs, is a cycle of suffering, and it's bounded by karma. The reason to break the cycle is to reach liberation, to merge individual consciousness with universal consciousness, achieving divine love with God. And here is an image depicting the goal of the religion. As you can see, there's 5 thieves pulling people down rather than gaining attachment with God, the upper staircase there. Medical beliefs. Sikhs value all life. Therefore, they tend to easily adapt to medical innovations. They are open to all medications as long as it is intended to heal. Some may not be open to medications that contain animal byproducts, if strict vegetarians. There's a concept of acceptance in the religion, and Sikh patients may seem stoic in response to an illness. Sikhs pray to God for help either alone or with others during illness. They may ask for devotional music be played called the kirtan at bedside. Some Sikhs may choose to combine Western healthcare with alternative medicine. One in particular is Ayurveda, healing through natural substances. Technologist considerations. We should be aware that prayer is common during medical illness, and they may carry a book called the Gutka, which should be treated with reverence. Therefore, we should ask permission before touching it and wear clean disposable gloves or wash hands beforehand. We should never place the book near the feet, on the floor, or any place unclean. We should also avoid interrupting their prayer. Stoicness of a patient may also be present, and that indicators of pain, severity of pain may be more difficult to gauge. Therefore, we may need to rely on more objective data when making an assessment. The kirtan music that is played may also disturb other patients, and if that is so, we can offer headphones depending on if the hospital has them to offer.
Sikhism, communication within healthcare. Before we get started, I wanted to briefly talk about the importance of patient-centered care in BC. I would like to highlight that in healthcare, acknowledging the diversity within communities is a crucial step in providing competent care to patients. Individuals within a community may practice their culture or religion differently. This brings the importance of adopting a person-centered approach so that the patients and healthcare providers can establish rapport and trust, ultimately paving the way for better healthcare practices and outcomes. Language and culture. Majority of the Sikh population in the lower mainland come from a province in India called Punjab. It is important to note that Sikh religion isn't tied to a single region or ethnicity. Although most of the Sikh population is from Punjabi descent, there are large Sikh populations in various places around the world. These include parts of India outside of Punjab, parts of Africa such as Kenya and Uganda, and United States, to name a few. Knowing that Sikh population can stem from various places around the world, healthcare workers should be aware of the wide languages many will speak. Punjab is among one of the 10 most popular languages spoken by Sikhs. Many will also speak Hindi, Urdu, and English. For some, Punjabi may be their first language and will have trouble understanding, writing, or speaking English. So what can we do to provide the best healthcare experience and overcome such language barriers? Research from Fraser Health suggests that there are 3 things that must be considered for effective communication. Number 1, health literacy. Health literacy involves understanding and effectively using health information to promote and maintain well-being. It's crucial to note that we're assessing the health literacy level of patients and not that of the care provider. Number 2, understanding and taking into account your patient's culture, like we discussed in the previous slide. Number 3, understanding your patient's language ability, whether that be Punjabi, Hindi, or English. Bearing these 3 elements is an important factor on how safe your patient feels in your hands. Not only will it help with how they view the quality of care they are receiving, but will help to plan appropriate treatment for the patient and the ability for them to access other health resources. Like they say, you only have one chance to make a first impression. Technologist considerations. Be mindful that some Sikh patients will require an interpreter or translated material. Don't show frustration and don't get angry. Translators should be called to be involved with patients who have been assessed to have trouble understanding English. If a translator cannot be found, hospitals also provide iPads or translating devices to be used to relay important information and instructions, as well as phone numbers to interpreters. So what happens if I can't find those either? Well, luckily, many staff use other medical staff members as interpreters, only if they speak the same dialect. Refrain from using friends or family as interpreters. They should only be used in emergencies. So why, might you ask? Information may be explained incorrectly or undermined depending on the situation. It is important to have information relayed as detailed and correctly as possible. As technologists, it is mandatory for us to ask for consent before touching to position a patient. Although you may have asked for consent, there is a possibility that they are unable to understand. Make sure the patient acknowledges what you have asked and apply the necessary steps for them to understand. When you have an interpreter to help, speak to the patient instead of asking the interpreter to tell them what you said. It is a professional way for techs to build rapport with the patients. Gestures can also be very helpful. Use gestures when positioning patients and acknowledge any questions they may have for you. There are many diversity services that have been developed to help healthcare providers with patients that have English difficulties.
I'm going to talk a bit about the Sikh family unit. Sikh views on family are shaped by their religious beliefs and cultural practices. Sikhs place significant importance on the institution of marriage and emphasize the value of a cohesive family unit. Sikh families are typically very close and place a strong emphasis on family ties and responsibilities. Sikh women hold equal status and are also recognized as integral members of the Sikh community. They are deeply respected for their important roles within both the family and society. Respect for elders is another very important aspect of Sikh culture, and elders are highly regarded for their wisdom and experience. Family decisions often involve consulting with elders and seeking their guidance. In Sikh families, it is customary for relatives to play a significant role in healthcare decisions. There is a true sense of collective responsibility within the communities to assist those in need, including family members facing challenges. Some Sikhs, particularly the elderly, may actually decline medical treatment unless their family has granted consent. Regardless of age, most Sikhs do prefer to make healthcare decisions with input from their families, as it enhances their comfort and sense of support. And so, we as healthcare providers should engage respectfully with all family members involved. When considering healthcare protocols for Sikh individuals, gender can often influence certain aspects of care due to cultural and religious practices. Sikh religious guidelines do not restrict patients from seeking care from healthcare providers of different genders. However, cultural considerations are still important to consider. This is because some Sikhs may feel hesitant discussing certain aspects of their health, particularly sensitive topics, with healthcare professionals of different genders. This is not a rule or restriction, but rather a cultural preference. Sikh patients may require or request same-gender care during X-ray procedures. As a technologist, it is important to request for permission to assess, as these patients may have preferences for modesty and privacy, especially during physical examinations and procedures. For example, some Sikh women may feel more comfortable and respected if the procedure is performed by a female technologist. If a Sikh patient is unable to be seen by a provider of the same gender, they may feel more comfortable if accompanied by a family member. As well, family members may be directly involved in the healthcare decisions for the women. So, healthcare providers should respect beliefs that influence preferences for same-gender care and honor requests for privacy whenever possible. Creating an inclusive and respectful environment that honors patient preferences can enhance the quality of care and patient satisfaction in radiology and other medical settings.
Sikhism, Appearance and Clothing. Introduction to the Articles of Faith and its relevance to healthcare. Articles of Faith. Sikhs have upheld a physical identity that makes them distinct in public. This appearance signifies individuals who have embraced Sikh religious values by accepting initiation. These distinct appearances can be recognized for being the Articles of Faith. The Articles of Faith include Kesh, which is uncut hair, Kanga, a small comb, Kara, a steel bracelet, kirpan, a religious article resembling a knife, and kachera, which is knee-length shorts. I will discuss these deeper in the next slides. Sikhs' dress varies widely, with no strict rules on style. Traditional attire for men includes loose trousers and a long-sleeve jacket, while women often wear long trousers, with a dress called salwar kameez. Many Sikhs do not adhere to all articles of faith, and notably, not all maintain uncut hair and turbans. However, this does not diminish their Sikh identity, nor does it prevent them from identifying themselves as Sikhs. Children, including infants, may wear some articles of faith, and non-initiated Sikhs often keep uncut hair and wear a kara. Kesh. Kesh is one of the most distinct articles of faith in Sikhism. Kesh is defined as uncut hair for both men and women, covered with a turban or a scarf. The Sikhs believe that all hair on the body is considered to be kesh. Kesh is considered to be a gift from God, and hair is treated as a symbol of loving God and cherishing everything God has given. Next is Kanga. Kanga is a small wooden comb for maintaining uncut hair. A Kanga is used to groom and care for the hair, or kesh. The comb is placed within the hair, above the top knot for men and above the bun or plait for women, often concealed underneath the turban. The Kanga symbolizes cleanliness and the removal of impurities and morally undesirable elements. Next is Kara. Kara, a steel bracelet. A Kara is an iron or steel bracelet that is worn on the wrist. It is a reminder of the Sikh's bond with the Guru and a reminder that God is eternal. The bracelet resembles a circle, insinuating it has no beginning or end, which symbolizes that God is eternal. Next is Kirpan. Kirpan resembles a knife. Kirpan is a stylized representation of a sword crafted from metal. It is fastened to a belt across the torso. It is either concealed beneath the clothing or openly displayed. Initiated Sikhs are required to wear it constantly, whether it's work, school, and/or in sleep. The kirpan represents the Sikh's obligation to confront injustice and symbolizes spiritual strength. The kirpan is not a symbol of violence, but rather a symbol for spiritual power. And the last article of faith is the kachera. Kachera is a cotton underwear resembling knee-length shorts. The kachera represents the chastity or sexual morality of the wearer. So let's move on to technologist considerations with Sikh people. So, during examinations, it is crucial that none of the articles of faith are removed from a Sikh without consent, except in the absolute life-threatening emergencies where the patient may be unconscious and cannot provide consent. If any of these articles are removed without the patient's consent, the patient may feel deeply violated, as this can lead to beliefs of their religious identity being stripped away. The kesh may represent an additional challenge for technologists, if possible, during a procedure to keep the head covering intact. If the head covering had to be removed for a procedure, it is important to thoroughly explain the procedure and make sure to get consent when removing the head covering. It is also possible to offer alternate ways of care if the patient is uncomfortable. An example is hair removal for certain procedures. It is best to have a conversation with the patient and consider alternate procedures where hair removal is not required. During examinations, both Sikh men and women may have a concern for modesty and would want to cover their bodies as much as possible. If a hospital gown is necessary, Sikh patients should receive one long enough to reach the ankles with a closed back. It is important to have conversations on their comfortability prior to the exam. Having these discussions prior to the exam would be beneficial as it allows the patient to make a timely decision which allows them to consider alternate procedures if they are not comfortable.